Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the As Above, So Below show. My name is Meg Moonbeam, and I'm here with my magical co host, Ashala. Hello, Ashala. How are you doing?
Hi, Meg. I'm doing very well, thank you. Delighted to be here. Looking forward to seeing what comes forward today.
Yeah, it's as we were just talking about right before we went live, a really big energy at the moment. Lots going on in the collective. As you guys know, we don't have to list all the different things, but we'll be touching on some of those things, talking about the current big topic astrological transits, doing some readings for each of the four signs based off of the transit of the North Node having just moved into Pisces, South Node in Virgo. We're going to get into some very magical stuff. So, sending you guys all lots of love, first of all, because there are some very intense situations going on,
Mhm.
particularly with the Los Angeles wildfires in California, among many other places all over the world. So, I've definitely, Shala, had my thoughts the whole past week very much like on California, kind of keeping up with what's going on, sending my energy that way. So, we are here with you guys, sending so much love and support in these very unprecedented times, for sure.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
before we get into the content of the show, please remember, you guys, to like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic YouTube and Rumble channels. And Ashal and I both do personal readings over at consultations.beyondmystic.net. The link is in the description box below. And are you getting a lot of like vibes of New Year's readings? Do you like doing New Year's readings, Ashala, at the beginning of the Gregorian year?
I do. I feel like it's a great time for a reset, and often there's a lot of people that would like to have a look at the year ahead. And I
Mhm.
do a special blend where I look at the usual traditional type of overview reading in the month of January, but I combine it with a yearly forecast for the person. So if you book
Wow.
with me in January, you're going to get kind of a blend of a yearly forecast as well as a traditional overview.
So cool. Awesome. So, yeah, if you guys would like a psychic tarot reading with Ashala, you can check that out at the link in the description box. Always great to get a Gregorian New Year reading. And also, this past week in Ashala, I hosted the live Pluto and Aquarius Master Workshop for the collective and all 12 signs, this transit that we're in for the whole next 20 years. Oh my goodness. And we went deep. It went 4 hours long. I think it was exactly 4 hours long. So the replay is available for anyone that would like to check that out on the Beyond Mystic Academy. And thank you so much for everyone that joined in. It was a very beautiful energy. Ashala, can you give any hints? Are you able to give any hints of some of the things that you've got in the woodworks for 2025 workshop wise? Are you able to say anything?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. So, the next thing that's coming out, I just have launched the level 2 of my dowsing. So that's where I'm doing working on the ground, literally using dowsing rods. And, even if you're not looking for traditional things like water on the land, you can work with dowsing rods to measure the aura of individuals, of different features in your landscape. You can look for ley lines. We look at how to work with maps and interpret the even the place names in the region where you live, and combine
Mhm.
that with using the dowsing rods. It's so fascinating, and getting back into this, like I've been doing it for years, but teaching it, I'm going another level into the research and the background stuff. And it's just phenomenal what this opens up for us in terms of feeling connected
Mm.
where we are in our homes, in the region where we live, and to the magical landscapes that we live within. So that's a really cool workshop offering. I think it just came out on the Academy. You can check that out.
Mhm.
And then right around the corner is going to be dream analysis, which is a
Ooh.
4-part uh, basically program, taking you everything from the history of the significance of dreams and how different uh, people in ancient times worked with the power of dreams for healing, for prophecy, and how we can translate that into our modern dreamscape, and have these very, I don't want to say almost formulaic tools where we can apply these formulas and not only increase your ability to have memory recall of your dreams, but also to have lucid dreaming experiences and to do therapeutic healing work in your
Wow.
dreams, intentional work in your dreams. So that's some of what we're covering in that course. And then there's a few things that are scheduled for later on in the year, some work with financial sovereignty and more about feng shui and clearing
Mhm.
land and energy in your home and so on. So, yeah, there's some cool stuff.
That's gonna be great. I'm so excited for the dream workshop and the feng shui one as well. So cool that the North Node, we're gonna be talking about later on how the North Node just ingressed into Pisces. And, the North Node is our collective higher purpose, what's in alignment for us to be focusing on. And Pisces is dreams and dream work. So it's literally the perfect time for your dream workshop to be coming up.
Right.
And I want to talk a little bit before we do like a collective kind of general card pull for all of us in our community to get started. How are you feeling, Ashala, just in general with the current energies? How's your sleep? How's your mood? Feeling any kind of energy shifts? Are you feeling normal? What's going on?
I wonder what normal is anymore.
Yeah.
I want to say there's quite a lot of heightened expectation. I'm riding the anxiety waves pretty well, but just viscerally, it affects definitely our sleep and different, health little ailments and things like that that continue to be sort of riding beneath the surface. And yeah, like it's a mixed bag for me. I feel
Mhm.
like I'm just so proud of so many of my friends and colleagues and clients that are getting stronger in resilience, standing in the center of this storm, like that they
Mhm.
know so much about what's going on, and yet they're just able to continue to stay, not just survive, but continue to sort of ride the waves. So overall, I want to say pretty amazed at how well we're all riding the waves. That's what I want to perceive about what's happening.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same. DR Fortini in the chat says normal these days is constant change. I love how you just framed that, Dr. Fortini, if that's how we say your name, because that really is what it is. It feels like the past, even though it wasn't all positive and there was a lot behind the scenes that wasn't revealed yet or healthy for us as a society, there was this normalcy going on. And
Mhm.
one of the things that would go on in, a week that we have now would be like the biggest deal of the year kind of thing. And it is that theme of constant kind of
Mhm.
change. Lars says, Storm is putting it mildly. Definitely. And 2025 with the astrologies we're going to be talking about throughout the shows as we go on into the year is going to be pretty freaking intense continuation of the structures and systems of our lives, collapsing from the past age of Pisces of the past 2000 years. So wild, wild stuff, you guys. And I just want to mention as well, too, I'm curious if anybody in the chat felt any kind of shift when the North Node moved into Pisces on Saturday. I could not sleep, Ashala. I was up until 5 a.m. lying in my bed after the nodes had just shifted, and I was like buzzing, and I was cuddling with my cat Ocean, and he was all over the place too. And it was like we were both feeling it. So curious if anybody else has been feeling that nodal shift as well. Did you feel anything this past weekend, Ashala?
Definitely. And now that you're
Yeah.
saying singling out Saturday, absolutely, I felt that. And it's almost like we feel these things and we think it's just something going on with us personally, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was really reflecting. I was like, oh, well, the full moon's right around the corner, so it's that. But this makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
The shift of this node. And how long does this node then remain in that position?
Yeah, it's for the next 18 months. So then I guess, well, I want to do a collective card pull, but
Right.
before we get into that, but yeah, 18 months they stay there. So and the North Node is our collective higher purpose and destiny, what's in alignment for us to be focusing on. So it is a really big deal. There's very fated life events that can happen around the times that the nodes shift. So, yeah, let us know in the comments, you guys, how you're feeling. Many people saying they're feeling tired. Murdoch says extremely drained. Wow.
Mhm, mhm.
Tiredness, having issues sleeping. Yeah, a lot of us are having that at the moment. So, grounding is very important. Those kind of generic things that we talk about all the time during these times to help us sleep. Very important for sure. So, Ashala, can we pull some cards, like just a general card pull for our community, our magical community? What's going on, or is there a different way that you'd like to frame that question for us?
Um, well, you know what? I'd like to kind of maybe if we just step back a bit and look at the
Yeah.
last few days as you were talking about that,
Okay.
what's just happened when we had that shift of the North Node collectively, and also, on the heels of or right on the heels of that was the full moon in
Mhm,
Cancer. So
mhm.
I'm just feeling like we're still a little bit in those two things, and maybe let's just tap into that and
Yeah,
see
that sounds good.
where did we just come from is almost what I'm hearing. Like, what have we just
Mhm.
been through, and how do we set ourselves up for the next wave? Okay, so yeah, we've just come from, uh, this card, Eight of Swords, it can feel like you're waiting for something. You'll notice that this person, it's associated with feeling victimized, like you don't have the the ability to change your destiny. You're
Mhm,
kind of being controlled by things that are beyond your capacity. However, the rumor with this card is that her hands are not tied behind her back. She's free to untie herself and then take off her blindfold and then walk out of the fence of swords.
mhm,
But she has been there so long that she's forgotten that she's free, is kind of the
mhm.
message with this card. So there's something about, yeah, like waiting for something to happen. We're all sort of sitting on pins and needles, waiting for something. We
Yeah.
know that something's coming, but there is this little page of wands is saying, let's start the change, kind of get ahead of the wave or something like that. Let's preemptively change ourselves or start um, reacting differently to this.
Mhm.
Um, oh wow! And then now this is interesting. I was just telling Meg about uh, a personal overview reading I did for myself for the year. And there'll be more about that, I think, in the next 2 or 3 weeks because I'm going to dive deeper into it. But this card came up for me in this particular month, and it is King of Cups is very much about doing the deep, deep inner emotional work. It's also like the maturity, the ability. It's very much the energy of the sign of Scorpio, Meg. So it is
Mm,
that ability to like not run away from your deeper emotions, not run away from the things that you've been hiding from yourself. So there is quite a lot of energy. It's interesting when I think of the sign of Cancer, the full moon in Cancer, it feels very feminine, very nourishing and nurturing. This feels like a very almost like full moon in Cancer on steroids.
mhm.
It's like it's almost like a full moon in Scorpio feeling to me.
Wow.
Like it feels very, very emotionally impactful for people. So we've just been in this state of feeling like we're waiting, sitting on pins and needles waiting, but we're also needing to get proactive and start maybe doing this deeper emotional healing work. Now is the time.
Mm. Wow. Well, that makes perfect sense, Ashala, because this full moon, even though it's in the sign of Cancer, as we're filming this as above, so below on January 14th, the moon has now ingressed into Leo by this point. But yesterday, not too long ago, at the exact point of the full moon, its apex was 23 degrees of Cancer. Interesting that you're picking up the Scorpio vibes. conjunct Mars, the traditional ruling planet of Scorpio, and we're still going through that Mars Pluto opposition, the two rulers of Scorpio.
Okay.
And don't know if you saw this, Ashala, or not. I'll bring this up here. We had something called a Mars occultation with this full moon. Did you hear about that?
No.
Let me bring up, see if there's a video I can bring up or
Mhm.
something here. So this is really rare. So Mars was visibly like went behind the moon and on the other side at the time of the full moon. And we call this an occultation. Occult, the root of that word, it's
Hidden.
not evil, it just means what is hidden,
What
right?
is hidden?
So Mars got occulted, hidden by the moon. And this Mars right now is at fall position in Cancer for the whole next few months. Actually, he's not happy. Mars is not happy. He's retrograde at his fall position of Cancer and in an opposition to Pluto. So makes a lot of sense that Scorpio, kind of even like emotional turmoil, I've been noticing with myself, and let me know anyone in the comments if you're also feeling it. Like I've been feeling my own shadow side and kind of self-sabotage really coming up with
Mhm.
this full moon actually. And some
Mhm.
things that I thought, okay, I'm over that. That's, we've gone past that. It's like Mars retrograde conjunct the full moon. And Cancer in astrology rules the past and nostalgia. So it's very much people, places, things, patterns that are hidden coming
Mhm.
back up to the surface, right? So
Mhm.
this is one way we can work with it, as you were saying, Ashala, is emotional healing work for sure.
Mhm.
There can be issues coming up with our families or our families highlighted. Of course, that's Cancer, the divine feminine, women, the balance in the collective right now between the feminine, Cancer, and the men, Mars.
Mhm.
Very interesting with the LA fires situation. Not sure if you saw, Shala, the basically leaders, if I'm not mistaken, chiefs, the higher ups of that fire department are kind of like women that are LGBTQ. And I'm not against gay people whatsoever, but it's really highlighting like, wow, there's women in traditionally very male roles where, it's very important to have that kind of male role to literally save lives and carry people out of the houses that might be heavy kind of thing. So it's highlighting a lot right now. Very, very intense. So if you guys are listening out there and you're feeling emotionally volatile, you're having your shadow side come up, you're having
Mhm.
intense impulses come up, this is normal. You're not going crazy. This is a huge release portal. And we're in it, the energy of it until Thursday.
Wow. Wow. And this is interesting because this little page of wands came up for my reading for myself for the whole year as well as
Yeah.
being like it's a catalyst card. It's like you look at it and you're like, oh, it's just one of the little pages, like that's no big deal. But it is the
Mhm.
little page. Well, interestingly enough, one of the metaphors about this little page is that they go around lighting fires. So
Wow.
there's something very catalytic about this. What we're being literally dragged awake here out of the
Yeah.
slumber and this feeling of like being we can't do anything, our hands are tied, or we're waiting
Mhm.
on pins and needles for something out there to change, and it feels like we're just being pushed into seize the moment, because that's the other word that goes with this card, carpe diem, seize the day. So
Mhm.
seize this moment, and it's going to require that we do the deep emotional work, because we're going to need that strength of emotional maturity and groundedness to navigate through this year, is what I'm getting.
Mhm. Wow, that's really powerful. And I'd love to ask too, Ashala, can we maybe pull on, is there, and I know everybody's got their own, personal issues and karma and all that, but is there some collective theme for all of this with this full moon on the emotional level of something that we're all kind of dealing with on the emotional level, some kind of maybe trauma or issue, which can be Cancer, vulnerability that is maybe being occulted, hidden, hard to reach, but what
Mm.
really would be good for us to look at and be honest with
Well,
ourselves
you put these two cards together. Let's see what the third one is. Oh my God.
about?
Three fire, three wands, spiritual ethics.
Oh my
Spiritual
gosh.
ethics. So this is actually like, how many things have we just kind of swallowed, even though spiritually we knew they were wrong? How many things have we let slide on this planet? How many times have we not like confronted things that are out of alignment spiritually with our
Mhm.
values, like we've just grown to believe there's nothing we can do about it. So this is just really a time of spiritual ethics coming into focus, and people saying, you know what, um, the the lulling us to believe that if we just keep lay low and don't make a fuss, we can have all our needs looked after and we can be, coddled and given all these great things in life. We're all
Mhm.
kind of going, shaking our heads awake and going, uh, I'm not going to stand by and just go along with all these things that don't resonate with my spiritual truths. I mean,
Mm.
it just even things like I've had these thoughts lately, and I'm sure we all have these thoughts, on a spiritual journey, is stuff to do with, things like the way we were trained in our religions and raised. Like, I remember being raised in Christianity, that, like, God was so merciful and even like cared about the little creatures and all that kind of stuff. And then that was the same God that was like, smite thy enemy and go out and kill all
Mhm.
the Philistines. And it's like, and some part of me was like, said, this doesn't feel right. None of this feels right. Like, you're saying, you're hypocrites. You're saying two different things. And we've just sort of let ourselves be like lulled into putting up with all of that BS
Right.
nonsense, like the hypocrisy and spiritual ethics. That's the shadow. We're going,
Mm.
like, there's so much hypocrisy.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. I'm, like, really feeling that in my body as you're saying that. So true. And it goes down to that, it feels like familial, ancestral level because over
Mhm.
time, it feels like and that's very Cancer, the family and the ancestors. Over time, things were accepted and became normalized. Digivine says, "Comfortably numb." Yeah, we are comfortably numb. There's so many different things, we gotta be careful because 'cause we're on YouTube and Rumble, but so many different systems where it's actually total enslavement and, like, doesn't make sense
Yeah.
among
Not only
many
does it
different
make sense, it pushes every ethical
Right.
5 alarm bell in us. We're just like, that is wrong. But we sort of went along with it. We went along. I mean, we can deal with that later when we go through our life reviews, but
Yeah.
there's something like we were all sort of almost, I want to say, lulled into or tricked into or coerced into not fighting back, not making a fuss, not, and the only way that people could really uh, like act out that hypocrisy was by going against the system and becoming anti-establishment, and then you got
Mhm.
shamed, right? So I feel like, probably a lot of our followers are hugged that line,
Yeah.
were like the black sheep or the ones that went against the status quo because they were like, no, it doesn't feel right. I can't just fall into this hook, line, and sinker and put all my, it feels so spiritually not ethically right.
Mm.
And so it probably is really the time for us, the black sheep, to shine now, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like we knew it all along, and now nobody gets away with that.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
cool and crazy, Ashala, because this morning I pulled my daily tarot card in the morning, and I pulled for myself the Queen of Wands, and that one is, like, right in the center
Right
of
in
that
the
reading.
center. And she is basically like, I do, like, I'm my own sovereign. I play by my own rules. I follow my own spiritual ethics. And this guy, we call him the spiritual warrior. And then this guy is the catalyst for change.
Wow.
Right? And then
That's
the Eight
amazing.
of Wands is like momentum, just all this energy, sort of like there's, again, I think I talked about this in my last overview, last Saturday's forecast, the
Mhm.
momentum that's building up. Like, we're gaining so much energy and momentum. There's the wildfires, and then there's the wildfire of the soul that's happening right now, and people are on
Mm.
fire. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Love the words that you're sharing, Ashala, and people in the chat are really resonating with it. J. Clark 65 says, I love that term. I've never heard it before. Spiritual ethics. There, and that's something maybe we could even just touch on that really briefly, Ashala, the fact that there are spiritual ethics, right? Like there's the
Mhm.
ethics of we need to ask permission, right? To read people, we need to ask permission to send people energy, right? These are very basic spiritual ethics that we've lost in our modern
Mhm.
day society,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Well, and I mean, I think, you can even turn to biblical references and the parables and stories, especially in the New Testament, of course, not the whole thing, but I'm saying there's some really good wisdom in there about like, you know, who's without sin cast the first stone, and like we can't project onto other people to live differently when we're not doing it. Like we have to
Mhm.
set the example. We have
Yeah.
to be the living example. And that's what this is, right? It's going from this asleep with this eight of swords. Like, I don't know, I'm waiting for someone else to do it. I'm waiting for who's going to step out and
Mm,
save me? Who's going to change things? And then, we're all kind of going, oh, actually, it's us. Like, because we're at that point where it makes more sense to do that than to keep going along with this BS narrative, right?
mhm. Yeah, for
So,
sure. Wow, really, really powerful cards. And yeah, Gisela says 100% be the example.
mhm,
Definitely, for sure.
mhm.
So, yeah, some very big astrological transits going on. We've also got the North Node has just ingressed into the sign of Pisces as of Saturday, January 11th, and the South Node in Virgo, those two opposite signs, which is the health axis in astrology. So, Virgo is our physical health and day to day routines and organization and work. And Pisces, of course, is our spiritual health, creativity, unity, consciousness, oneness, enlightenment, the healing arts, right? So, what's really cool, if I can just bring up the chart to show you guys, is the North Node is in Pisces, South Node in Virgo for the next 18 months. But this is not a normal North Node in Pisces transit, right? This is the North Node, this horseshoe looking symbol, because the planet Neptune is also in Pisces. Neptune is the planetary ruler of Pisces. So, what we call the North Node's dispositor is in its home sign. This is the strongest, like North Node in Pisces transit you could possibly have. And we have not had the North Node and Neptune together in Pisces since 1857. And what was going on around then was the rise of modern day spiritualism. I'm sure you've heard of that before, Shala, like the spiritualism of like Lilydale and upstate New York, and starting to
Mhm.
let the occult and the paranormal and the mysticism come back out in the open safely after the whole witch trials, right?
Yes.
Which was huge. And I feel like that's something very underrated that a lot of people miss is like, we would not be able to do what we're doing right now. There was hundreds of years of period where we would have been burned at the stake or drowned or tortured, right?
Totally, totally.
And
Yeah.
then when Neptune and North Node came together in the 1850s, it became safe again.
Mm,
Now
mhm.
it's happening again where not only is it safe, but it's almost like, and I'm curious to see what you feel, Shala, and I'd love to pull cards on this too, is it's we can go to the next level. Not only is it safe, but it's like to really go to the next level of your
Yeah.
psychic abilities, Pisces, your dream work, like the
Mhm,
workshop you're going to be doing this year, your
mhm,
spiritual connection, right?
mhm,
To really feel bliss, to really raise in frequency, right? So,
mhm.
what is in alignment? The North Node represents what is in alignment, our higher purpose. It is spirituality and spiritual awakening
Wow.
and
Wow.
healing, right?
Yeah.
And the remembrance that death is not the end. It's easier to say than experience. I had a really good friend who I talked to yesterday who just had their father pass. And I said to him, I know that it's easier for me to say, yeah, he's still around. He's just, on the other side. Of course, there's that experience of grief, right? But
Mhm,
Pisces teaches us everything is one. We are all one.
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Death is not the end. We are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yes.
And part of, I think, some of these disasters that are happening all over the world, and I don't mean to demean them in any sort of way, but when we have crisis is when we have spiritual breakthroughs
Yes.
and very magical things occur where we remember who we truly are. Sometimes we need to be brought to our knees for that,
Yes.
right?
Yes, and, it's like so much compassion and also so much gratitude for the people that have stood in the front and taken some of the hardest hits for
Mm,
these lessons, right? People who've lost their lives, lost their homes,
yeah.
lived in these crisis trauma center point of these traumas. It's like they're I just wanna I'm feeling like they're saying their memories will be exalted. They like, that is such a gift to the rest of us
Mhm.
to say, "Wake up, stand up, show up." Like, I laid my life out so that this would become so much more obvious, and I mean, it's interesting because you're talking about the witch trials, and I'm going, one of the most extraordinary things that I feel at this time is that we're learning so much more about what happened, and that there are still, like, we're still processing and healing those times. And
Mm,
likely every time we come around one of these major nodes with Pisces
yeah.
and Neptune and so on, right? It's like we have an opportunity to look deeper into that, and in a way all that loss and suffering is not lost because
Right.
we're still learning from that. We're still
Mm,
seeing, like, what is it that made that so threatening? What made it
yeah.
so threatening that, average people could have a relationship with nature and the spiritual world, and they didn't need the church or hierarchical leaders to be the
Right.
intermediaries. I mean, if that was that scary then, it's that scary now,
Mhm.
right? It's like these things have been kept away out of our hands. We've been told it's too dangerous. You're going to end up in the dark side. We've been told by the dark side that if we get involved and explore our spiritual connection to source, that we're going to end up in the dark side. Guess who told us
Right.
that? The dark side,
The dark side.
right? It's like,
Yeah.
so I just am feeling and hearing that a lot of the honor of the people that sacrificed so much to still have their stories told and to be recognized, that this is giving us an opportunity to look at these things. And
Mm,
there is a little bit of a feeling of not waiting for someone else. Like we have the collective trauma of it's scary
yeah.
to step out and be counted, because what if you're the next one with your head on the block, right? Like
Right.
there's that. So I'll just wait and see how many people are getting away with this before I step out. And it doesn't mean that we all have to go to the front of the line and make these ultimate huge sacrifices, but every one of us has a way that we could really shine during these times and help humanity. And
Mhm.
it's about not shying away from that, is what
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
That is beautifully said. Totally. Can we pull some cards,
Yeah.
Ashala, on for us as a collective with this North Node now in Pisces and South Node in Virgo? What do we need to know, or what's the divine guidance?
Mhm. Yeah. Wow.
And this is going to be from now until July 2026. We've got this transit.
Mhm. Interesting. Oh gosh. So there's
Ooh.
another painful one. So it's bringing up um, the old traumas, what we were just talking about. We've come around. Interesting, you were talking about the spiritualist revival movement, um, but also all of the revolutions and chaos that were going on in Europe at the same time as that
Mhm.
was happening. So there's like extreme instability, and then coming back around where we have the opportunity to um, engage in connecting with the divine, with spirituality, with our, as I said, with our spiritual ethics.
Mhm.
And, at these critical nodes, it's the most important time to do that. And this clearly, with that North Node in Pisces, is one of them. Oh, yeah. Like, it's that time where we all say, I can't do it. I can't hang in there another minute. Just like when a woman is in labor and they say that moment where she says, I can't do it, is
Yeah.
usually somewhere around the time when everything speeds up and
Mm,
you actually are in the home stretch, right? It's usually
mhm.
the home stretch where we go, I can't make it.
Yeah.
And that's what this is right now. It's like, I can't make it yet. We're in the home stretch and look,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
sun.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
we're sorry.
we're in the home stretch. We feel like we can't make it, but we can. We
Mm.
can make it because look at this. We will make it.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Wow, we will make it. We will make it. I believe that 100% with all of my being.
mhm.
And I don't think we would all be here at the same time, incarnated, consciously together to just end up in a, transhumanism matrix nightmare. I don't believe in that at all.
I don't either. Like when I say we will make it, we're also all going to make different types of
Yeah.
sacrifices along the way to make sure that this birth happens.
That is
'Cause it
so interesting, Ashala. Sorry to interrupt you, but Pisces rules sacrifice.
Yeah, and birth is
Real deal.
painful and it's
Yeah.
it's hard work, and
Mhm.
we are rebirthing here. Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, birthing, the whole age of Aquarius out of the age of Pisces, that makes a lot of sense. The cards are always right on. That's beautiful. Should we do readings for each of the, sign groups for
Yes,
this North Node in
please.
Pisces? See what comes up?
Mhm. Okay, who are we
Let's
starting with?
let's start with our fire signs, which is
Mhm.
our Aries, Leos, and Sagittarius.
Mhm. Oh, look. Wow.
Wow.
Tower. So, hmm. Okay, I just heard like you sort of almost like you called it is what I'm hearing. Like
Mm,
you guys called it. Like you saw this, you knew this was coming, you called it. Um oh, look at that. And the fire signs, they're like they are going to be able to jump into action. So this change is right up their alley because it's very fiery. It's very spontaneous. It's very like, and they're saying, it's a bit of your own medicine, fire signs, because things are going to be like the way you live.
mhm.
Things are going to be very like, you got to turn on a dime and like be spontaneous. And but there's something I do feel that the fire signs are going to kind of enjoy the familiarity of what we're going through, and they're going to kind of jump to the front of the line and be like, yeah, let's go. Like lead the charge a little bit, right? Yeah, they're going to
Yeah.
have a bit of fun with this, honestly. They could have a little bit of fun with this. They could be like, yeah, now we're talking, let's get things moving.
Mhm. 3 of Cups.
Yeah,
From the
right.
Tower to the 3 of Cups.
The Tower to the Three of Cups. So it's like, so there's something a little bit there. There's also a bit of be careful what you wish for, but fire signs are not known to be very careful, period. So they're kind
Mhm.
of going, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, people are saying, look, this Sagittarius and Aries saying, bring it.
Oh, I love that. So
Yeah.
funny. Yeah,
So
that's super interesting because the fire signs are gonna be having the North Node in Pisces. I made a typo here. It should just say North Node in Pisces, not the South Node in Virgo in there too,
mhm.
because 'cause they're gonna be in different houses, but the North Node in Pisces in their water elemental houses.
Mm.
So, it's really highlighting their emotions, their healing journey, their intuition, their spirituality. Did you
Yeah,
wanna
interesting. Well, it feels almost like they'll catch the bigger lessons later. They're gonna just jump in and go for it, is what I'm
Mhm,
feeling. So that's
mhm.
good.
Wow. Yeah, and the cups is a kinda
It is water.
water-related card.
Yeah, it's water,
Interesting.
but this one is very, like, having fun in the water.
Yeah,
It's playful.
yeah.
Um, so even though I'm seeing here that, emotions, healing, intuition, well, spirituality, the spirituality part is what we've been talking about, and it does feel like it'll be kind of a bit of a comfort to them emotionally, that things are
Mm.
finally getting activated and brought out.
Right. Yeah, and we've been really lacking that fire influence in the outer planets, in the really big transits, and we're going to start to get that this year while the North Node is in Pisces, Saturn, Neptune conjunct in Aries at the beginning critical degrees of Aries, Aries degrees. So, yeah, for the fire signs, that makes sense that it's kind of like having fun through it, but there can also be huge emotional and spiritual breakthroughs going on at the
Mhm.
same time. And Pisces is magic, and magic is fun. Magical energy is fun. So, fire signs, be sure to be, during this North Node and Pisces transit, tuning into your emotions, your healing journey. For Aries, it's going to be in the 12th house. So, it's really highlighting their dreams, their spirituality, their intuition getting even stronger over the course of the next 18-month period. Very magical for the Aries. Sun, Moon, and risings. And for the Leos, North Node in Pisces is in the 8th house. So that's huge empowerment, transformation on the subtle spiritual levels. 8th house is Scorpio. They have Pisces in the 8th house, two water sign influences. Leo, there could be fated life events with merging with others, meeting new soulmates, receiving new money and abundance and power in life, which can be fun for Leos because Leos like to be, powerful in the spotlight. And for Sagittarius, it's in your fourth house, North Node in Pisces. So, really highlighting your family. A lot of Saggies will be moving, maybe even to faraway locations or traveling to faraway locations because Pisces is faraway locations in the
Mhm.
fourth house. So, big changes going on for the fire signs.
Cool. That is
Cool.
so
Now let's
cool.
look at our earth
Earth
signs.
signs. Well, I mean, gosh, that's the other piece that feels elementally, it just feels so potent, doesn't it? Like all the
Mhm.
earthquakes, I was seeing people making note of that there's been a lot of earth shaking going
Oh,
on
interesting.
in different areas. Um, and yeah, as with always, how I imagine these earth changes is I keep visualizing it as necessary um, transformation, transmutation, like energy moving, clearing, but we don't
Mhm.
have to make it so dramatic that there's huge loss of life and huge destruction.
Right.
So let's look at earth signs. Starting off with that very colorful, very creative, very go your own
Oh.
way, follow your own path, Queen of
Mhm.
Wands for earth signs. And look at this strength. Sometimes this card relates to it's only under pressure that you discover your strength. This is also a lot about um, both of these cards have to do with your image.
Mhm.
So there could be something about like reimagining your image, even doing some kind of physical makeover so that
Right.
you are emerge as more of who you uniquely are. So not just following uh, you know, whatever the status quo is, but really stepping into your unique image, for example,
Mm.
is one way to and look at this clearing and also things that you may have been sitting on for a long time, earth signs, you're just going to say yes. It's a little bit like sort of time to make your declarations and stand by what you value.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so cool. Love that there's the Ace of Swords and the Strength and the Queen of Wands. These are like very positive,
Very,
actually.
very empowering cards. Yeah.
Yeah. So our earth signs are having the North Node in Pisces transiting for the next 18 months in their air houses of relationships, social ability, and information and learning. So for Taurus, this is in the 11th house. So it's really highlighting friends, new community, stepping into the age of Aquarius. You know, what are your magical superpowers and long term goals going into this new Aquarian frequency that we're stepping into? And it's funny that the Ace of Swords came through because that is related to air,
It
right?
is.
And it's the
It's
air houses.
yep.
So I feel like for earth signs, there can be huge clarity that comes in, like
Mm.
overall in life over the course of the next 18 months. For Taurus, that's in regards to your long term goals, friends, community. Virgo, it's your committed relationships in the seventh house, commitments and aesthetic. That's so funny that you just said maybe change the way that you're, putting yourself out there because that's like the air houses, how we show up to others. And
Mm.
the seventh house for the Virgos is your aesthetic, your style. How do you present yourself, which does make a difference in life and what you attract, in your confidence levels.
Mm.
Very, very important. And then for Capricorns, North Node in Pisces is in the third house, highlighting the local community, friends, siblings, and learning new subjects that might be Piscean in nature, going deeper into spirituality, esoteric, creativity, the healing arts.
Wow.
So, very cool earth signs. And now we'll move to our air signs for this North Node in Pisces transit.
Mhm.
And thank you, everyone, for your positive and supportive comments. We're happy that you're enjoying the show today.
Mhm. All right, air signs, here we come.
And that's our
Well,
Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius.
we're off to a good start here, making magic, stepping into communication and leading the way with communication. Wow, look at this.
Whoa.
So, it's almost like I get the feeling there's this sense like covering the big stories, like really having, um, yeah, like a lot of data processing and a lot of like coverage of what's going on. I don't know why I'm
Mhm.
being shown that, but this just really feels like being right at the front and keeping your eyes on everything and kind of staying abreast of what's happening. And then in your off time, when you're not doing that, it's a lot about health. And this is the lifestyle card. This is the card where we like take it back down to the very basics of healthy diet and healthy lifestyle. So it's preventative, but it's also what allows us to keep doing this kind of work. So there's going to be potentially quite a lot of data processing during this time of this North Node in Pisces. There's going to be a
Mm.
lot of synthesizing of information and kind of covering the events and making sure that everything is recorded. But please take time, air signs, to replenish and to stay low to the ground, is what I'm hearing, meaning like really staying connected with your healthy lifestyle habits and routines.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, makes sense. The air signs are having this transit in their earth houses. So grounding, manifestation, interesting, the Page of Pentacles
Yeah.
and the Magician, right? Grounding our manifestations, bringing our dreams into physical reality, believing in ourselves, right? The death too, that's interesting because it's like letting go of what no longer serves you from the material realm, your values, income changes can be coming up for the air signs too. And I'm hearing spirits say like air signs believe in yourselves and believe in those dreams. Pisces is our dreams that we want to manifest, that you can actually bring those into physical reality by the earth sign is, or the earth frequency rather, is doing the work, putting the energy in it, boots in the ground, right? All the different signs and archetypes in astrology have their medicine. So it's great to have the dreams, Pisces, and do the visualizations. That does work. but the earth is like actually doing the steps physically to make things happen. So for Gemini, that'll be highlighting your career and your legacy and long-term goals, up leveling professionally or in your public reputation. For Libra, it's having to do with your health, taking care of your health in your sixth house, your day-to-day work and being organized, and really good time for cleansing Libras with the North Node in Pisces in your sixth house. And Aquarius, it's in your second house, highlighting your values, your income streams, your pleasures and enjoyments of life. So, very powerful for the air signs, those
Definitely,
cards in
definitely.
this astrology. Cool. Now let's go to our magical water signs, which is our Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And let us know in the comments, you guys, what your sun, moon, rising is, or what your sun sign is, if you feel like sharing it.
Ah, interesting. Just as I was shuffling the cards, this card kind of jumped out twice.
Mm.
So interesting. Queen of Swords for the water signs. So she's a lot about boundaries. She's also a lot about organizing our thoughts and organizing our strategies. Um, oh, wow. You notice every one had like a very powerful middle card to it, right?
Mhm.
There was like, so all will be revealed. This is a great sort of launch into a new phase. So that energy of birth and rebirth that we've been seeing a lot connected to what this North Node transit is going to be about. It really feels, especially for the water signs, that this is sort of the time to up level to a new
Mhm.
phase. And emotionally, a light, refreshing, this is the unconditional love card.
Mm.
So peace, emotional peace, inner peace, coming to a still point in your feelings um, of grace and of gratitude. So do you notice even the colors for the water signs? This just
Mhm.
feels very almost like magical, peaceful.
Yeah, it does.
Hmm.
Very, very cool. Wow. Well, the water signs are having the North Node in Pisces transit in the fire houses. This is nice for the water signs because it's a very different energy than what we're used to natural. I am a Scorpio, so I am a fellow water sign. So it's highlighting our creativity, our passions, fun, extroversion, life force energy, movement, you know. For the cancers, it's happening in your ninth house of foreign travel to lots of cancers will be doing foreign travel to faraway places or taking courses that are Piscean in nature. For Scorpios, it's in the fifth house. So Scorpios are going to be very creative over the next 15 months because the fifth house is creativity. Pisces is also one of the most creative signs. And many Scorpios might be getting pregnant. Scorpios are going to be more fertile than usual physically and creatively as well. Good time to put yourself in the spotlight for your gifts and talents with the North Node in the fifth house. And Pisces, of course, it's in your sign. So this is a very fated next 18 months for the Pisces, having the North Node in your sign, Saturn, Neptune, huge life changes for the Pisces from the very foundations of your life where the North Node is going to really make it in your face what is in alignment for you and what is not in alignment for you. And it can be a very fun transit if you're listening to those kind of stage directions of the universe, signs and synchronicities, Pisces. Awesome.
Wow. Wow. So cool.
Cool.
So even though we didn't have that fiery energy show up, it was all very almost like an airy feeling or lightness.
Yeah.
I can see that, the birth, the renewal, stepping out into the world in a new way, and even the creativity coming in as being, very organized in how you put out your work. Like this feels
Mhm.
very purposeful to me. It's
Yeah.
like time to put yourself out in the world in a much bigger way.
Mhm. So cool. So hope all those readings resonated with all of you out there. And we're getting close to the hour mark here. Before we finish up, we want to mention, let me bring this up over here. We're going to have very cool new workshops over on the Beyond Mystic Academy this Gregorian year of 2025. And the next one we've got is the Opening the Psychic Senses with Janine and myself. We're going to be doing this live on Wednesday, January 29th at 4 p.m. Eastern. So if you'd like to sign up, you can go to the link in the description box below on the Beyond Mystic Academy. And we're going to do some different levels to this throughout the year. So, introduction to unlocking your natural psychic abilities, which has to do with the North Node in Pisces. It's all about opening up our psychic abilities, stepping even more into our spirituality. So excited for that one and love the poster that I think JC made for it. It's very, very fun. And you guys know that you can go book a reading with Ashala if you'd like a New Year reading or any kind of reading. Psychic tarot readings with Ashala on consultations.beyondmystic.net. The link is in the description box below. And we've got a discount code Beyond Mystic, all in one word, that you can get 10% off. Any parting words of wisdom, Ashala, that you'd like to share?
Wow, this has been so informative, Meg. And I just want to thank everyone that is showing up with us and sharing their energy because, as always, it makes my job so much easier because I have all the energetic strength and support to draw on to receive great insights on behalf of all of us. So, thank you for your beautiful energy, everyone.
Aw, I second that. Thank you, everyone, for being you, being your magical selves. And we love the energy when we go live. We're all connecting together, even though we're not, physically all together. We're in community support, which is so, so important.
Mhm.
So, thank you guys so much for joining us. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic YouTube, Rumble, and X channels. And we'll see you all next week for another episode of As Above, So Below. Thank you, Ashala.
Thank
See
you,
you
Meg.
next week. Bye,
Blessings.
everybody.